What is up guys, Nico here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And for today, I am going to show you the tests that I did with the Sony FX6 and the electronic variable ND filter feature of this camera. Alright, so for this weekend, I am just going to, shoot what I normally shoot here in the house since it's lockdown. I would have loved to have this, going around or going to shoots, but no scheduled shoots. So I'm just gonna shoot things here and see how my experience is with this full frame cinema camera from Sony. Now the one thing I would like to test out is the electronic variable ND filters. Now coming from a user of a mirrorless camera, I've got ND filters or variable ND filters slapped onto the lenses of the cameras. Yes, I've gotten used to it, but sometimes that extra step of having to get your ND filter out of, let's say, your bag or your pocket still takes time. Slapping it on to your lens, screwing it on for some people. For me, I've got a magnetic adapter slapped onto it, so it's much easier, but I'll see how convenient having an electronic variable ND filter inside the camera is right now. Now, having this feature is very important for, an A7S III user and an FX6 user because as you know, the A7S III has a dual gain ISO wherein at ISO 640 and S-Log3, you've got the cleanest image, and then it gets noisier and noisier until ISO 10,000, and when you reach 12,800, it gets clean again, just like 640. Now, sometimes when you need that much light around, let's say 8,000 or 10,000, which is, the noisiest footage that you can have on an A7S III, then slapping on an ND filter and just cranking up the ISO to 12,800 is the way to go. Now, having, that option of just pressing a button in the camera to get to 12,800 and having an ND filter to control the light if 12,800 is too much for the shot that you wanted to get. So now I'm going to use the A7S III, go outside. We are now in a pretty dark area. For daytime, we're inside the house. I have my camera on 12,800 with an ND filter, but let's see what happens when I go out. All right, so we're going out and we are greeted by the sun. As you can see, it's white. And I think at 12,800, we pretty much can't do anything about this. So here is the max of my ND filter. Actually, this is the max. However, you see that X already in the middle, so I think this is the maximum usable setting and it's still bright. So what I have to do is I have to crank the ISO down to 640 and probably lower down my ND filter to there. So that is what I would do on the A7S III. There are a lot of steps involved, but you get the job done. Then again, you have to adjust a lot of things in the camera, in the lens, the filter. All right, so now I am going to use the FX6, do the same thing, walk outside from here and show you how the electronic ND filters work. Now, the electronic ND filters, just like the filters that you slap on the lens, you could control it a 1/4, 1/6, 1/8, but I'm not using that. I am using the auto function of the variable ND filter. What this does is I'm able to set everything constant. ISO is at 12,800. My shutter angle, yes, this has a shutter angle because this is a proper video camera. Shutter angle is 180 degrees. My aperture is at 2.8, and I set my exposure to plus 1.25. So it's in auto exposure. Now, if you're a mirrorless camera user, you will ask, how will it adjust the exposure if everything is constant? And that's where the auto variable ND filter comes in. It's the filter that adjusts to the exposure that it senses from the environment. Alright, so I am going to do the same thing I did with the A7S III. I'm going to walk out that door with this camera. So I'm now recording, so here goes. Yes, we are blinded by the light at first, but look at that. It adjusted its variable ND filter right away to 1/128. And look at that. Look at that. Exposure has adjusted. I don't know if you're hearing me through the A7S III or through the FX6 right now, but look at that. It's amazing. And let's go back inside and it will adjust the ND filters right back down to 1/8, 1/10. So there's the A7S III. I didn't do anything to the ND filters. It just worked on auto mode. The green light here, it's just on auto, and that is a pretty nice feature for a video camera. All right, so let's do another test, this time in the backyard. First is the A7S III. I'm gonna put this because for sure we're gonna need it. So as soon as we step out there, we need to adjust our variable ND. Probably bump down the ISO as well. There, I'm at ISO 640. And yeah, ND is, I don't know what level this is. So this is the A7S III. Back inside. Take off the filter. Probably need to adjust the ISO there. So that's the process, going outside and going back inside using the A7S III with a variable ND filter. Now let's try with the FX6. All right, so now we are going to use the FX6. Let's switch from this camera to this. So you're seeing it right now. It's exposed for indoors, and we are now going outside. I am not going to change any of the settings. What my settings are here, nothing to change. Earlier, I switched the ISO lower when I went outside, and the variable ND filter, I had to, adjust it. Now I'm just going to let the camera work. I'm going to let the electronic variable ND filter on auto work by itself. So I'm going to go out now. So as you can see, This is inside, properly exposed, and I'm going outside. I'm not moving anything. So if this was, you know, the A7S III, I'll probably be greeted by blinding light. But since the FX6 rather has a variable ND filter that can be set to automatic, then it is, you know, yeah, so there. Probably not a ideal way to film yourself, but yep. So from here, let's go inside, and it's exposed again. Properly exposed, I mean. So there. That is how the auto electronic VND works. That is how awesome it is. So good job, FX6. All right, so that's the test of the electronic variable ND filter of the FX6. More specifically, the auto electronic variable ND filter. It's so convenient to have this in the camera. You know, I hope they somehow introduce that to smaller bodies like the A7S III, you know, the stills type bodies. I know currently there is a limitation physically to have, you know, both IBIS and an electronic variable ND filter, but you never know. Technology is, you know, evolving each and every day at a rapid pace in this day and age. So, you know, I'm positive that somehow this will be a feature in the future in smaller camera bodies. And that is it for this video. If you're still here, thank you for supporting this channel. I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you'll get notified when I upload new videos here on the channel. Also, like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. See ya!